Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at your onions growing in the garden and thought, they're doing fine, but they could be doing better? I'm not talking about bigger bulbs or just more of them. I'm talking about onions that grow stronger, resist pests naturally, and even help the rest of your garden flourish. Sounds like magic, right? But the truth is, it's not magic at all. It's companion planting. And when onions get the right neighbors, they don't just mind their own business. They become your garden's best little bodyguards and growth boosters. Today on Botanical Bliss, we're diving into the 10 plants you should absolutely be growing next to your onions. These aren't random guesses or pretty pairings. These are time-tested, gardener-approved combinations that work in backyards, allotments, raised beds, even big containers. So stick with me because by the end, you'll see onions in a completely new light, and your garden will never be the same. Chamomile might look delicate, but in the garden it's a quiet force. It's believed to subtly enhance the flavor and growth of onions, and its small flowers are magnets for beneficial insects like hoverflies and tiny wasps that prey on pests. Chamomile brings both beauty and balance to the garden, and next to onions, it's like a calming tea for the soil and the surrounding plants. Tomatoes and onions belong together in salsa sauce and, as it turns out, the garden. Onions help deter pests like thrips and aphids that can wreak havoc on tomato plants. And while tomatoes grow tall and leafy, they provide a bit of shade that can keep onions from overheating in midsummer. Marigolds are like cheerful little sentries for your onions. Their roots release compounds that deter soil pests like nematodes, and their bright flowers repel a host of flying insects, from cabbage moths to whiteflies. Nestled beside onions, marigolds turn your garden bed into a fortress. And they do it while looking like a summer celebration. Coriander, or cilantro depending on where you live, does more than just add flavor to your curries and fresh salsas. Its strong scent actually repels aphids, and when it starts to flower, it brings in beneficial insects that love to feast on garden pests. When you grow coriander next to onions, you get a double layer of protection. The onions help guard the coriander, and the coriander calls in reinforcements for the onions. It's kind of a win-win, honestly. Dill is a real pollinator magnet, and it's also a haven for helpful predators like ladybugs and lacewings. Its feathery leaves and those airy flower heads add a nice texture to your garden, while its deep roots reach into soil layers that onions just don't get to. And, dill and onions don't really compete for space or nutrients, so they make a low-maintenance but super productive pairing. Parsley might be small, but it really packs a punch in the garden. It's known for repelling certain pests like asparagus beetles, and it thrives in the same soil and light conditions as onions. Because it grows so compactly, you can tuck parsley right alongside your onions without losing any valuable garden space. Plus, you'll have fresh sprigs handy for the kitchen all season long, which is always a nice bonus. Basil's rich aroma isn't just irresistible to humans, it's actually pretty unpleasant to a lot of pests like thrips and flies. Growing basil near onions means you get two powerful scents working together to keep those troublemakers away. Basil also loves sun and warmth, and onions can provide just enough of a microclimate at their base to keep basil happy. Plus, the harvest possibilities here are honestly endless. When you're planting onions with companions, think about creating a community rather than a straight line of crops. Onions do best when they're surrounded by a mix of heights, scents, and root depths. Taller plants like tomatoes or marigolds can go at the north side of a bed so they don't shade onions too much, while low growers like parsley and basil can nestle along the edges. Scatter in herbs like dill and coriander to bring in pollinators and pest predators. And remember, onions like air circulation. Keep them spaced about 6 inches apart, with companions arranged to allow sunlight and airflow to reach them. When you match onions with the right companions, the benefits ripple across your garden. Pests are naturally reduced without chemical sprays. Pollinators and beneficial insects are more active, boosting your yields on other crops. Soil health improves because different root systems explore and enrich different layers. And perhaps most importantly, Your garden starts to feel less like rows of isolated plants and more like a thriving, interconnected ecosystem. Onions are the unsung heroes of companion planting, humble, hardworking, and surprisingly generous to their neighbors. By growing them alongside carrots, lettuce, chamomile, tomatoes, marigolds, coriander, dill, parsley, and basil, you're not just protecting your onions, you're building a healthier, more resilient garden. If this guide inspired you to rethink where you plant your onions, don't forget to subscribe to Botanical Bliss for more tips that blend beauty, productivity, and a little bit of plant magic. And if you know a fellow gardener who's been planting onions in lonely rows, share this with them. Let's spread the bliss, one companion plant at a time.